Cape Town, South Africa.
Florence, Kentucky.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Fitchburg, Kentucky.
The Philippines.
From Puerto Rico.
My father was from Puerto Rico, and my mother is from Kentucky, so I am half Hispanic. Okay, when they first see me, I guess they see that I'm ethnic.
So usually some of the first impressions, if they see me, they just presume I'm American, I guess. As soon as I start speaking, they obviously tend to associate, probably like 90-something% of the time, they realize I'm not from America, and their eyes kind of get a little bit wider for a second, you can kind of see it. And yeah, they usually presume England to start off with, or Australia, or New Zealand. However, when I tell them I'm from South Africa, then I kind of usually see like either a wrinkle in the forehead, they kind of get confused, they have this like stereotyped image of someone from South Africa, or they think Africa. Then I usually kind of get the question, you see them like, why aren't you white? Why are you white, sorry. They're like, have you seen the movie Mean Girls? And I'll be like, yes, I know where you're going with this.
Well, I have a lot of people who think that I'm Mexican, or they think that I'm Mexican, or I've had a few people sometimes think that I'm mixed, but that's in like the summer season because I can get really tan. And then there's only just a few people that really can see that I'm Filipino. Like that, I've kind of just gotten used to it. It doesn't really offend me anymore when people ask me what I am, but at first it might have been like really annoying when people come up to me and speak Spanish to me, and I don't speak Spanish, so that gets kind of irritating sometimes.
I'd say mostly in the workplace. When people first meet me, they don't think I'm very smart, they don't think I'm very strong, and they tend to, try to give me like the girly jobs, like not really doing much.
When people first see me, they probably think I'm like a jock or some kind, because I always got on a lot of football gear, and they probably just think I'm a football player and don't go to school.
Since I don't have a strong accent, I think a lot of the times people don't realize where I'm from and they don't understand, and then sometimes they'll question my name since my name is Valeria. They'll ask me what my full name is, and then I go into the fact that I have two last names, and then I'm like, well, my name is Valeria Victoria Lopez Rosa, and they're like, what? And they just get so confused, and then they're like, oh my god, do you speak Mexican? And I'm like, I don't speak Mexican. That's not a language. Spanish is the language, and I think that's when I'm just kind of like, okay. Sometimes I don't even want to explain where I'm from or my name or anything. I have a lot of pride in where I'm from. But sometimes when people bring it back to the whole like, oh, is that where, like, you're from Mexico? It's like there's so many cultures out there that it just kind of makes me a little uncomfortable sometimes.
My impressions on other people, I usually start by their accent, and I can try to tell where they're from. If I see someone dressed in pajama pants at school, I kind of get an impression that you're not really here to try. But yet again, that has nothing to do with your schooling and that kind of thing. So I guess that's a negative perception that I have, and maybe other people have. It's just the way that people hold themselves, and that's something I could probably work on now talking about it.
Stereotyping, kind of. Maybe like I'll look at other people and I'll try to figure out what they are. Like sometimes I'll look at someone and be like, oh, maybe they're Filipino too, because it is kind of hard to distinguish, because I do understand where some people might think that I am like Mexican or Latino, and so that's really the main stereotype that I find myself doing, is trying to figure out what other people are. I do, just from kind of my experience while I'm serving, I do notice like different groups of people typically do tip better, or they don't tip at all. I notice when I see like an Asian table, they typically tip you what they're supposed to, which is the normal. It's like 15 to 20%. Mexicans sometimes tip you what you're supposed to, but a lot of times they do. The richer looking white people typically don't actually tip you 15 to 20%, which is a surprise, because you would think that you see a really wealthy family sitting at your table, they're going to tip you what they're supposed to, and they don't. And black people normally don't tip you 15 to 20% either. So whenever I see tables like that, I'll be like, oh great, or I'll be like, oh, like we'll see how this goes.
First time I see somebody, I draw a conclusion and I think of how they are and how their past is just by looking at them and what they got on.
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I make a lot of first impressions, and then I tend to, keep those ideas. Sometimes I'll meet people and they'll do something that I really don't like, and I'll start to hate everything else that they do because I don't like that one thing.
Definitely a big time when I first came to the United States, that especially going to the South, I had these very stereotypical sort of associations of what American Southerners might be. And unfortunately that led me to obviously perceive them in certain sort of ways, which weren't true after some, a little bit true, but in generally not the thoughts that I had obviously in South Africa.
I think that because of where I'm from and because of where I live now and how I grew up and the varieties of cultures I've been exposed to, I think it's a lot easier for me to respect other people's cultures, and I can kind of empathize with them and understand them, and I'm not quick to judge, and I'm always very careful about the things I say or the things I ask them, and I always make sure I pronounce their name right because I know how much that matters to me, so that's probably how it affects me.
Usually I try to introduce myself to people, tell my background, who I am, but trying to gain that information from people, especially the ones that I might have a negative first impression on, that seems difficult because I already have that impression in mind, and it's kind of hard to take that away. I guess that's what a first impression's all about, is that solidifying that fact about that person.
I think there's a common sort of stereotype when someone thinks like Africa, they think, unfortunately, like huts and wild animals, lions, stuff like that, which is unfortunate because specifically sort of South Africa, instead of maybe the rest of Africa as well, is obviously very industrialized. It's very sort of Western influence, which is sad to some extent, but also good to some extent in terms of infrastructure. But yeah, there's that sort of misassociation of the continent, I guess, in general.
I'd say that we should start just giving everybody a chance and, not hating people, as soon as they meet them or assuming bad things about them the moment that you meet them, because maybe you'll start to like them.
I think a big thing would be like the social media surrounding everything. I'm a political science major, so I kind of witness a lot of like the whole conversation about racism and like the stereotyping, and I think a lot of it comes from social media, and I think this comes with any different type of background. I think giving so much effect to only the racist aspect and not the actual situation is a huge aspect that causes a lot of these problems, because you'll see a headline that focuses on the race but not the actual situation that happened at the time. So I think that's one big way that we could help lessen these circumstances.
Well, yeah, I think I should better myself at that. I should get to know the person before I draw a conclusion about them, and I think people should do the same about me.
So I would definitely suggest getting to know people more and talking to them, because that's the best way to know somebody.
Unfortunately, I don't think stereotypes can ever be dissolved. Like I said, I think they can be mitigated to a certain extent, or just by being aware of them. I think if you can be educated or be aware that you have innate stereotypes, associated groups of people that can help you counter them and then behave differently and better. But yeah, in terms of when you actually interact with people from different sort of groups and different backgrounds, and you see their points of view as well.
I think that education is the most important factor. I think that people knowing that it's not just Mexico, things like that, will really just open people's eyes. And the more, not only that the children know and that parents know as well, then, parents can teach their kids how to respect those cultures at home, and it creates such a just general understanding that a lot of people just don't have about any culture, really.